What's up everybody, my name is CheapScissors and today I have some really exciting news as well as some thoughts on the new update on PTS right now, or Public Test Server. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, which you guys probably clicked on this video for and are probably really excited for, is that there's a console release coming soon for Royale. Now, it says private beta, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to just download it or if you'll have to sign up. I know there's a sign up form, I'm not sure how long it will be private for. But if you do want to get in on this private beta, you will be able to get it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so go click the link in the description. It's literally just the Royale homepage and then you can go sign up from there. One thing that I think is really cool about this that hasn't really been talked about is that because it says private beta, I'm assuming that when they actually launch the private beta on consoles, Royale is going into beta. Now this is a big move for the game because right now they've been doing a lot of drastic changes and it looks like they're kind of leveling out with these changes. And the reason this is a big deal is because they talk about how they do all this stuff to figure out the game in alpha, and once they move to beta and eventually live game, it's not going to be so crazy. And knowing high res, it might still have some bumps, but overall I'm excited because we're getting towards a really good base game that they can build on with new classes and new content and new stuff, while they have the same core concepts in place that they have kept for the past few weeks now. Also, speaking of adding new classes, we have some data mine class names that we think are going to be the classes in the game. It is pretty certain that that's what they're going to be, and what those are the Paladin. This will be a knight sort of character in armor, I'm guessing. I think he'll be probably sort of more aggressive. I'm guessing he'll have a movement ability that's more aggressive, like a charge possibly, or something similar to the charge. And then we have the Alchemist, and I'm really excited to hear about the Alchemist because I think that this is the support class that I've been talking about. I've talked about it in previous videos, and I'm really excited because I think a support class, like an actual support class that has a legendary weapon that possibly does support or more support focus, would be really cool. Of course, it won't be the crowd favorite as far as a class choice because it probably won't be as exciting, but I think that there's a need for some sort of additional class that isn't just trying to get DPS. The Hunter is pretty cool, but it's pretty useless because there's just other classes that have higher DPS, so if you like the way it plays, too bad, because you're probably going to get beat by an assassin. And of course, I'm not saying that you can't win with Hunter, but it's going to be a lot harder just because other classes are more powerful and they all fill the same role right now, more or less, which is damage. They all just do damage. And of course, you have different playstyles with the different abilities of each class. For example, this assassin has the poppy bomb or the concussion bomb, so if you want to hit someone up in the air and shoot them, that's going to be a lot different than using the withdraw on the Hunter and then trying to shoot them from a different angle. But overall, you pick the Hunter because it has a bow that does 1,000 damage. Overall, you pick the assassin because of the sniper, and overall you pick the warrior because of its mobility, and overall they all just have the same purpose. I mean, of course they have different purposes, but they're all just killers. And I think that having something to help your teammates out, possibly a class weapon that will do healing alone, or at least have more of a focus on team support, it could add really cool varieties of team comps and overall gameplay that isn't really present in the game with the classes currently there. Moving on from ideas and speculations and all that good stuff, let's talk about some stuff that's actually going into the game. We're going to talk about the new PTS patch notes that are going to make massive changes to the warrior class as well as some other classes and in-game mechanics. The first thing that's being changed, which is really big, is that they're changing a lot of stuff about Heroic Leap, which is the warrior's movement ability. The first Heroic Leap change is that it no longer deals any damage. Now, this was something that's been in the game pretty much since the game came out before Steam, but I don't think that the Heroic Leap should have damage because everyone starts with nothing except for a movement ability, and the fact that you can start with doing damage is kind of OP. I don't think it's, the best idea, and overall I don't think anyone should have to experience being Goomba stomped at the beginning of a game. It seems like most people agree with this idea because most people agree that movement abilities should not do damage, but the other changes are very questionable in my opinion. The next thing they do that I don't think is very great is that they reduce the jump strength by 20%. This means that you're going to be launching yourself at 20% less speed than you were before. And you might say, okay, well, it was pretty OP the way you could cover really big gaps, and I agree, it was a little bit OP, but I think it was balanced with the way the assassin could just take anybody out at distance, and overall the warrior has its place in the class that can close gaps between other players, and so I think that taking that away from it is not the best idea. But even if you want to reduce that jump strength, I understand it is a little bit powerful, and so I can go along with that. I can say 20% less, okay, that's manageable, that makes sense. But then they did the reduction of air control. So air control is when you are able to move around while you're in the air. So if you notice when you leap, you can move side to side, forward and backwards very easily. You can make it so that you leap pretty much straight up and down. You can have a lot of control when you're in the air, and they're reducing that by almost 50%. So you're going to have almost 50%, almost half of the control you had before. And the issue I have with this is that Warrior not only has its ability to close gaps, but it also has a very high skill ceiling because you can do a lot of maneuverability while in the air, not going straight at someone and hitting shots. And of course, most people on the medium to low skill range won't be able to do this. But for people who are better at the game, I think that that should be an option for them because the higher the skill ceiling, the better the gameplay will be. But I can't say for sure how bad it's going to be because I haven't played it yet because I couldn't find a game in PTS. One thing I will say is that I don't think you're going to see as many warriors in the tournaments as you have before. Before, there's been a lot of warriors, a lot of assassins, and a few mages in the tournaments, and definitely engineers as well. And I don't think that warrior is going to be as prevalent because it's not going to be as useful for closing gaps, it's not going to have the extra damage, and it's just not going to be as good overall. My solution to this would have been to remove the damage as well as possibly reduce the amount of strength that you have when you leap, but I don't think that it should have been so drastically downgraded. The next thing that was changed for classes was the assassin class bonuses. So now the assassin class bonuses are 10% swap speed and 10% reload speed increase. Now that is what the hunter had previously, and a lot of people were saying that it seems better on the assassin because you don't ever swap or reload your bow, and you need to swap and reload fast on the sniper, which is why gauntlets are so important. And so I think that this was a great change. I think that this will better the game and make assassin more, fluid to play. Another change I made for Assassin was Ghost Walk duration has changed from the 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers to all being 3 seconds long. So previously, if you had a white Ghost Walk, it would last for 2 seconds, and if you had a gold Ghost Walk, it would last for 5 seconds. Now all of them will last for 3 seconds, and the only differentiator will be the cooldowns on them, which I think was necessary as well, because walking around for 5 seconds without taking any damage, without taking any CC, without anything happening to you, I think that's a little bit OP. The next and final Assassin change is huge. It is ginormous. It changes how people will play the Assassin, and it changes the amount of people I think that will play the Assassin because they added projectile drop to the sniper rifle. What this means is it's going to be a lot more like Fortnite when you snipe. There's going to be bullet drop. You're going to have to aim above a player if they are further away. I think that's necessary because right now the sniper is just a straight beam and it's so easy for kids to hit you, and I think that there needs to be a higher skill ceiling for Assassin. Even though there's already a very high skill ceiling, I think that there needs to be an even higher skill ceiling because the sniper is just very powerful, and there definitely needed to be some sort of remedy for how crazy the sniper was. The next thing that they did was they changed the hunter class bonus to 10% move speed increase. So that means that now as a hunter, you won't have the swapping increase, you won't have the reload increase, but you'll have a move speed increase. So it seems like the assassin and the hunter class switched their bonuses. The next thing they did, which was to buff the hunter, was make the flare effect radius larger. The previous effect radius for each tier was going 120, 150, 180, and 210. Now, those units are not real world units like meters or anything like that, so I can't tell you exactly what those mean, but if you know what a white flare used to do as far as reach and seeing people, now it's increased by about 20%. Will this make people play hunter more? Probably not. Will it increase the hunter's skill level? Maybe, but I don't think that the flare is the primary choice of people playing hunter anyway. I would assume that that would be either the mine and the blast shot paired with the withdraw. The withdraw is pretty crucial as a hunter, and so I still don't think that the hunter is going to be widely used. I don't think it's one of the better classes, but it is viable. It does have, somewhat of a place if you wanted to use it, but I feel like other classes still fill those roles better. Finally, the last notable changes are that they changed the slug rifle and burst rifle damages. Both of them got a nerf, but they aren't very significant. So the burst rifle at its highest tier is doing 280 damage per shot, so that's 3 shots at once, 280 each, and now it is going to be 260. On the lower end, it's going from 220 to 200, and it increments by 20, so it's about the same throughout. Now the slug rifle previously did 750 damage on a gold version, and now it's doing 710. On the white version, it's doing 580 before, and now it's doing 565. Now a lot of you might be saying this isn't enough, this isn't a big enough nerf. You might think it needs to do a lot less damage, it needs to be reduced a lot more, and I can understand that standpoint, and I do agree that the slugs are very powerful right now and the burst rifles are very powerful, but I do want to point out that in the previous instances of them trying to fix things and fix backlash, they've made drastic changes that everyone gets upset over, and it definitely isn't the right way to go. And in this, they're taking it slow. They're slowly iterating. They're saying, okay, slug does too much damage, let's bump it down 40 damage, see what people feel, see how it plays, and if that doesn't work out, then we'll bump it down a little bit more, and a little bit more until we find the right balance. And that is definitely by far much better than what they were doing before. So for all of you guys calling for 100 damage, 200 damage nerfs on the slug, I don't want it to be obsolete. I like the slug, and I think that it has a place even if it's not doing crazy damage, and I think that everyone can agree that they want everything to be balanced. And so this is going to be the best way to do it, even if we have to suffer through a little bit more of slugs being kind of overpowered. So those are my thoughts on this update and on these changes, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment below. I do read pretty much every comment that I get. I reply to most of them, as long as they aren't straight up trolling, and even then I reply sometimes because you guys are fun. So be sure to tell me what you think. We all want to hear. Let's have a discussion that's, you know, civil. Let's keep it nice, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. So be sure to do that. Be sure to like this video if you liked what I did here. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. And until next time, peace.